Thanks for joining the Walt Weekly Podcast. This is Walter Latham, better known as Uncle Walt, Mr. Walt. When you get a certain age, man, they they make sure that you know that you are a certain age. You are old. But I'm not really that old, I don't believe. But anyway, let's get down to business. Today, what I want to talk about, and we have not spoken about it, is the Project 25 by the Heritage Foundation. I know at one time it was all the rage during the elections, and Trump said, nah, he's not involved with 2025, and blah, 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 blah. Which was a lie. You knew about 2025, and 2025 was predicated on the fact that if he was elected, these would be the policies to govern. So he knew about it, and they made sure he knew about it. And actually, in actuality, the guy has people right now that work for him in very senior positions that are students of the Heritage Foundation or associated with the Heritage Foundation. So, it's like, but today's show, we want to talk about and revisit some of those things around the Heritage Foundation Project 2025. I know that, there was a lot out there at one time, but guys, they are actually implementing this now. They are actually implementing Project 2025. So before I proceed, I want to show you a couple of things. First, look at this video by MSNBC.
Last summer, we spent all our time reading this, Project 2025. 2 volumes here I've got because that's how many pages it is. It's more than 900 pages. It's a conservative roadmap for a Republican presidency to reshape the entire federal government. President Trump repeatedly distanced himself from this on the campaign trail last year, despite many of its contributors working on his election team. He's since appointed some of its authors to lead some of the same federal departments and agencies that they devoted long chapters to for the Project 2025 agenda. Russell Vought, who orchestrated the whole project, but also wrote the section on the Office of Management and Budget, now runs the Office of Management and Budget. Brendan Carr, who wrote the chapter on the Federal Communications Commission, now runs the Federal Communications Commission. 8 months into Trump's second presidency, the authors of Project 2025, they kind of feel like their time was worth it because a significant amount of the policy proposals in this thing have already been implemented, with more in progress. President Trump's evisceration of the federal workforce, his focus on establishing a federal government loyal to him, ripped out of the first chapter. His dismantling of the Department of Education and of USAID resemble the plans laid out in this book. The firing of the FBI director in the middle of his 10-year term and the elimination of any sort of independence between the FBI and the White House are written into this book. Trump's war on climate research, it's taken straight from these pages. The April firing of nearly 400 scientists who author the National Climate Assessment, which tells us where we are as a country in the fight against climate change. Page 59. The White House has re-embraced coal as a valuable energy source while pushing solar and wind energy to the side. Page 377. Many of the administration's attacks on abortion rights and contraception access are sourced all the way through this book. In March, the Trump administration pardoned 23 people who were violating the FACE Act, which is meant to maintain open access to abortion clinic entrances and protect doctors and patients from harassment and violence. The Department of Justice was also instructed.
Project 2025 by the Heritage Foundation is a detailed conservative blueprint for a second Trump administration that recommends sweeping reorganization of federal agencies, large-scale political staffing, deregulation, rollback of equity programs, tighten immigration and enforcement policies, and changes to the civil rights movement. Well, the enforcement of civil rights, they're on the books, but they want to, make it basically a toothless dog, okay? So they want to take out, the enforcement of the Civil Rights Act. So I'm trying to determine, and what we would like to walk away with is knowing the impacts of 2025 so that we will be more effective in fighting against those initiatives and policies that they are slow rolling out in 2025. Let's talk about if implemented. It's already implemented because they're doing a slow roll and it's incremental right now, people. Many of those proposals would likely worsen long-standing racial disparities and reduce federal protections and supports that help African American communities. The harms are likely to be concentrated in areas where Black families already face disparities. And those disparities can be seen in health, housing, employment, and criminal justice, voting access. And you know what they're doing with this redistricting? They're trying to disenfranchise us. They're really working on that voting thing and the criminal disparities thing. All right. Also, education. Okay. You know, hey, they're getting rid of the Department of Education. It's gone. And environmental exposures / protections / procedures to check on what they're doing to the environment. They want to get rid of all of that. Okay. Besides us. But there's a significant part about us, Black Americans, that they want to roll back. Okay. You know, with the budget right now at a standstill, the government is shut down over medical. Okay. And the thing is that if they cut that medical, they're going to kill a lot of people. They don't really care. But I don't want to, just stick on that today. I really want to just inform you. And I'm going to have some opinions. There's no doubt about that. But I need you to formulate your own opinions based on what I give you, what we talk about, and what I show you today. Okay? So just hang in there with me. All right? But anyway, let me just summarize some of the principles of the 2025 project. 1, civil rights enforcement, anti-discrimination protections, and voting rights. They see that as, we could get rid of that. Right. The enforcement. You don't have to get rid of the law. You just don't enforce it like with marijuana, right? If we smoke marijuana, we order it and this and that. It's against the law on the federal level, but it's not enforced on the state and city and town level. All right. And Project 2025, narrowing the scope and enforcement priorities of federal civil rights offices. What they want to do is removing DEI. They done got rid of that. From what I've seen, they want to cut it out like, a wisdom tooth. Just cut it right out. All right? DEI and anything that would assist us with catching up from all this suppression over the last 400 years. All right? And it also recommends, this is what, narrowing the scope and enforcement of priorities of federal civil rights offices, removing DEI and equity. I already mentioned that initiatives. All right? When they walked in the door, get rid of DEI. Boom, it's gone. You know what I mean? And rolling back federal guidance on fair housing. Now, fair housing, I live on Long Island. You know what's going on out here with this, what they call redlining. All right? It was a big thing in the news, and they were going to address that issue. Now, under 2025, they're going to roll that back. They're not going to enforce that. So we're going to go back to all white neighborhoods. We haven't left all white neighborhoods. You know what I mean? Blacks are trying to get in because they got the best schools, they got the best property. They got best policing. Of course, we're going to want to get in there. You can't deny us that, but you have, and you will continue to do so. I know that. You know that. All right. So what does Project 2025 recommend besides fair housing, education, employment discrimination? Those things will not be monitored. Can you imagine? It's conceptually speaking, I can't imagine the damage that has been done underneath the underpinnings of this country when it comes to us and the educational system. I just want to use that as an example. Let's take, for instance, education. Under Project 2025, we're not going to enforce any discriminatory practices, right? But under 2025, what we're going to see is weaker enforcement lets discriminatory practices persist and increase. Okay? That's right. They don't want to enforce it. They don't want to enforce it. They're not going to roll back these laws. They're not going to roll back the Civil Rights Act of 64, but they're going to make it ineffective. It has no punishments associated with doing it. Okay? So weaker enforcement lets discriminatory practices persist or increase. Because Black people experience disproportionate housing, employment, and lending discrimination, reduced federal oversight will likely mean fewer remedies and more entrenched segregation and wealth gaps. Rolling back voting protections or making election oversight more restrictive would also disproportionately affect Black voters, who are more likely to face barriers, longer lines, purging, restrictive ID rules. Okay? Another impact is criminal justice, policing, and public safety. And just to speak a little bit about this, is what is proposed tougher laws or law and order approaches. We know where we are, what we need to accomplish, and these guys are just pushing us back. So I really don't understand that, but I do know that with these protests that started on October 18th, and then there's another one for Black Friday, and then I think the whole month of November, even now, there's certain companies that we will be boycotting. So one thing I do want to add here, people, is that participate in any way you can. I know sometimes in some situations y'all guys can't because you got one store and you got to go there, so you got no choice. But if you have options or alternatives, then y'all guys need to start boycotting, because this Trump administration is crazy, people. They are crazy. 2025, Project 2025, the guy denied it, and he's implementing it right out of the book. He's recruiting people that work for the Heritage Foundation. I mean, people, I really can't say. I'm speechless. And then you got Black people, Black men supporting Trump. Why is that? I mean, we're going to have to do a show on what creates a Black MAGA. Yeah, what ingredients do you need to raise a Black MAGA? The only thing I can say is that's something that we want to do. I got to bring on some MAGAs, maybe do some type of study. We had a Black MAGA on the show recently. We did 2 episodes with this guy. And we interviewed Paul Hunter, a Black MAGA. And he's active, too. He's attending the events, all this kind of stuff. Go back and check out those 2 episodes on Paul Lamar Hunter, Black MAGA. He agrees with their doctrine. He's agreeing against his own self-interest. It's just like, let me see what I can equate to that. It is like a programming AI, and then AI replaces him. I mean, it's like that. They have him supporting, the next thing they're going to export his ass back to somewhere in Africa, probably choose Ghana or Uganda or something like that, So they're blind. Black conservatives are blind, okay? So I didn't mean to, go off topic so far, but I did want to get that in, people. And also, this is me, Uncle Walt, Mr. Walter Latham Sr. I want y'all guys to like, subscribe, especially subscribe and comment and share. That's what we do. Even me, I see Black creators, I'm going to click on it. If it makes sense. It's not a violent or a girl dancing and all that kind of stuff. But if it's legitimate stuff, everything's legitimate in the creative space. All right? But if it's something constructive, or I perceive it as constructive, I'm going to like and comment, and I may not subscribe a lot of the time because this is a Walt Weekly podcast, but on my personal account, I do. I try. And on TikTok, I try. So I need y'all guys to look at the Walt Weekly. We've been out there since 2019. Say, damn, they've been damn true that they want to help the Black community. Look at our catalog. We got over 400 episodes that we've done since 2019. So look at our catalog, people. We're serious. We mean to help our folks. All right, especially now, we need it now more than ever, because when you go to television, the mainstream media, they're not going to cover some stuff. And if you go on YouTube, our YouTube channel, or you go to see other people's YouTube channel, we got like Don Lemon, he's out there. All right, I mean, these people, look at Roland Martin. These people will give voice. And the more you support the Black creators, the better it is, if it makes sense. I'm not saying go and support all of them. I don't want to see nobody ass shaking, even though we may like to look at it. But we don't want to be, I would just say, I mean, what they do is good. You know, it's entertainment. So that's the category, entertainment. Okay? But anyway, we'll see y'all guys next week. All right? And this is Walt, Uncle Walt. Walter Layton Sr., the Walt Weekly Podcast. Thank you. Bye-bye.